Hey, good day, everybody. Welcome back to Bible study. Just want to remind everybody that this is not pre-planned material. This is simply a Bible study at just a time, just 10-15 minutes to help people get in the Word every day. So it's not pre-planned. This is not studied out. This is not a sermon. This is not meant for the intellectually elite. This is just for the everyday person, just trying to find time to spend in the Word. And so hopefully we can do that together. We're going to be in John chapter 1 if you're going to be reading along with me, or it's going to be on your screen right there. Remember, if you're watching this on Instagram, hit that Instagram TV button and turn your phone to the side so you can see it all. And anywhere else you're watching this, welcome. Lord, lead us today, speak to us through your word, and show us how we might love you more and obey you more and love people. In Jesus' name, amen. Here we are, we're picking up in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 43. Taking us a couple days to get through chapter 1, but that's okay. Great stuff in this Gospel. Not just intellectual information, academic information, but some amazing material about the truth of Christ that can change our lives. So anyway, let's pick up right here. It starts with the next day. So anytime it kind of starts with something referring to a time period, I want to go back and just see for a second where it is that we are. And so what we would see here in the last day is that what took place is that Andrew, Peter's brother, found Jesus and went to his brother and said, "We found the Messiah, the Christ, the Anointed One." And so that's where we find ourselves. That's what this, kind of is leading us into. Is the next day after they found Jesus, it says that Jesus decided to go to Galilee. He found Philip and said to him, "Follow me." Now, Philip was from Bethsaida, the city of Andrew and Peter. So Andrew and Peter find Jesus. Jesus says, "What are you seeking? What do you want?" They start following him, and then it flips the script and it says that the next day Jesus went and found another guy who was from their same town, but this time instead of him seeking Jesus and Jesus saying, "What do you want?" this time Jesus sought him and simply told him, "Come and follow me." So it's interesting how it doesn't always work the same way. And sometimes even when you're not ready, Jesus might say, "Come on, buddy, come and follow me. Let's do this thing." And you have a choice to make. And heck, for somebody watching this, today might be that day for you. Or just like this, with this little video that you're watching, it just might be God simply saying, "Hey, come and follow me. Come and see what I'm all about." And this moment right now might be the moment that Philip had in that moment. And anyway, that's not what the Bible's saying, but that's just my thought as I read this, as I'm filming this video for you. So anyway, when I'm reading this, if I'm just doing my own Bible study, is this call that Jesus wants people that will follow him. So verse 44. Now Philip was from Bethsaida, the city of Andrew and Peter. Philip found Nathanael and said to him, "We have found him of whom Moses spoke in the law, and also the prophets wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph." So immediately Jesus finds this guy named Philip. Philip finds this guy named Nathanael. And he says, "We've found him of whom Moses spoke in the law." That's important, because anybody hearing this would know that if anything's going to be, worthy of grabbing onto, it needs to reflect the fact that Moses, God's first major prophet and miracle worker, and the Torah, which is the law of God, he's represented and found originally in that, and then proceeding from there, all the prophets wrote about him. And now Philip is declaring to Nathanael who this person is in present time. It's Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph, the human father of Joseph. So, verse 46, Nathanael says to him, can anything good come from Nazareth? I just think that's funny, more than anything else. I just think of some like podunk town. I'm from North Idaho, so I just think of Athol. That's with a TH, not an SS, but Athol. And sometimes I think, if somebody just saying, can anything good come from North Idaho? That's probably kind of their opinion of Jesus. Can anything good come from Nazareth? Like, it wasn't what you would expect for the God of the universe, that you would expect to be the Messiah, the Christ, or the anointed one. Again, they were expecting a militaristic leader in the line of King David, who conquered the land, conquered foreign peoples, led the nation. It just wouldn't be the place that you'd expect somebody to come from. And so he's asking, I think, an appropriate question. Can anything good come from Nazareth? And I love the response. Philip said to him, come and see. Just come and see. And I love that, I think sometimes, especially, I'm a pastor, and sometimes we can get caught up so much in trying to prove to people, the facts about Jesus and the truth about Jesus and the science about Jesus and all these things. And at the end of the day, we have to remember Jesus said, you will be my witnesses. And a witness, when I think of a witness on the stand, is not somebody that's studying and coming up with an argument or a sermon or a lesson or a lecture to prove some point to the judge or the jury, or to get their opinion into their hearts. A witness is simply somebody who's on the stand and just simply talks about what they've seen and experienced. That's it. They're not making an argument. They don't have an angle. Somebody that's a witness on a stand in a court of law is just, this is what I saw. If you don't agree with it, that's okay, but that's what I experienced. And so I just love that Jesus asked us to be his witnesses. And, he just says to him, come and see. And that's the same thing that we can say to our friends. If Jesus has really touched your life, if there's something real that's gone on inside of you, you can just invite people into that journey and just say, hey, I get it. I get that it might not make sense and it might be weird, and church people might be whatever and kooky and crazy and weird. They might even be hypocrites. But just come and see Jesus and just see if he's the real deal. And so Philip brings Nathanael along, and this is what it says in verse 47. Jesus saw Nathanael coming toward him and said of him, I love that. Jesus sees Nathanael coming toward him, and then he said of him. As Nathanael's walking towards Jesus, Jesus says, behold an Israelite indeed, in whom there is no deceit. So he starts with a compliment. Verse 48, Nathanael said to him, how do you know me? How do you know me? And Jesus said to him, before Philip called you, when you were under the fig tree, I saw you. I saw you. Nathanael answered him, Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel. How significant is that? Let me undo that. You are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel. That's incredible. Sometimes it's the prophetic word that is the word that somebody has knowledge of you, where you were, what you were doing, or something hidden in your heart that unlocks this thing inside of you that, is could have heard 1,000 sermons, but it was this word of knowledge that unlocked this belief in you. And this is what Jesus does for him, is he simply says, I saw you where you were at this one particular moment. He compliments him, and then he speaks a prophetic word to him, and then unlocks in him this, wow, you're the Son of God, and you're the King of Israel. And Jesus answered, verse 50, because I said to you, I saw you under the fig tree, do you believe? You will see even greater things than these. And he said to him, truly, truly, I say to you, you will see heaven opened, and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man. So, again, being that this is not a sermon, this is not pre-studied, this is not, me coming up with a lesson for you, just to kind of fill you in on like what I would do if I was, doing a Bible study, which I am, and I don't have time to take you through this, but when I read a sentence like this, truly I say to you, you will see heaven opened and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man. That right there is a big question to me. What is he talking about? What does that mean? Is there a Hebrew meaning to that term that I don't know as a 21st century Westerner? Is there just a theological meaning to that I haven't studied? Is that a reference to maybe something that happened in the Old Testament? Is it something that we can even know about? I don't know. But part of me doing these is to just simply show you that even when pastors do, their time in the Word, that we don't always know every single thing that's going on. But this is part of it. You underline it, you make a note and you say, man, I want to study that. I want to look into that. This might be a good time to address some of the things that I have on hand when I'm doing a study. I'll give you a couple off the top of my head. I use a website called greattreasures.org, I think. I think nowadays they purchased or acquired or something thebible.org, so that's one website now. So you can just go to thebible.org. That's a really cool site that I go to that allows you to study 4 different versions in the English, but I use that site specifically because you can study Greek words in particular and see how many times they show up and where they show up and all that. I use Olive Tree as an app, and I use Logos Bible software as an app. So those are a couple. We can dive into more at some point later as the videos go on. I'll maybe share some other references. But I've got a couple commentaries in Logos Bible software, and I know that there's all kinds of stuff online. Maybe on YouVersion there might be some commentaries, YouVersion Bible app. But again, I guess the point simply being, when you come across things that you don't get, it's okay. It's okay if you don't understand a term or whatever. Just make a note and go back and study that. But along the way, you can say, hey, well, I might not know everything that this is saying, but what can I take away for today? What is God saying to me today? For me, I noticed a few things. I noticed that Philip went and got a friend, Nate. So, that kind of speaks to me that a response to Jesus is to go and tell someone. That's a natural response when you really actually meet somebody that you're excited about. Go and tell somebody. And, here's some good stuff here. You're the Son of God, the King of Israel. Just simply to recognize once again in chapter 1 of the Gospel of John that Jesus is the Son of God. That's a huge deal. And to recognize that Jesus knows who we are. He sees us in the place that we are. Like he saw Nathanael. He knows who he is. He knew who he was. He knew where he was. He knew what he was doing. And he knows the type of man that he is. Behold, you are the man an Israelite in whom there is no deceit. He saw his heart. And so if we can, as we read this, just know that it's not just some guy named Nathanael 2,000 years ago that Jesus knows, but to remember that Jesus knows us, that he sees us in our situation. Whatever it is that you're going through, he sees you. He sees me. He knows me. He loves me. And he's got greater things, for me. To just come and see the journey. And so I think for me, that's the takeaway of the day. Come and see that Jesus is calling us all to this. Come and see with me. Come and see. So that's going to be my takeaway. Come and see that I think Jesus is calling us to. Hey, just come on this journey with me. Come and see what I have for you. It's going to be a good time. Anyway, that's what he's speaking to me. I wonder what he's speaking to you. Go ahead and feel free to share that in the comments if you like. Share this with a friend. Maybe tag somebody that needs to hear this and maybe needs to get on board with these. And again, thanks for tuning in with me. It's a little over 15 minutes this time, but hope it was worth it. And may God bless you and lead you today towards greater affection for him and greater obedience to him. Have a great day, guys.